Hello, folks, and welcome back to another tier list. As you all know, last time we talked about the Blood Bowl Quickfire Leagues. Now, today, it's the same type of tier list, but this time for a different league. The YouTuber Style League. What is the YouTuber Style League? Well, it's basically 8 matches plus playoffs. So, this is where things get longer and certain teams can develop their skill set. It's where certain teams get stronger and others get weaker. So let's start with the Amazons. Now, if you've watched my last video, you know I've explained to them about the dodging, about their tricks. So the question you'll be asking is, where do they end up nowadays? B tier. Now, they do drop from A tier because it's getting longer. Yes, they're getting good skills, but everyone around them is also getting skills to deal with them. You see, you gotta remember, guys, in Blood Bowl, whenever you look at the league, whenever you see teams like the Amazons, you know you've got to have to deal with them. And you're going to have to find ways to get rid of them quick. So, yeah, they've dropped from being an A tier because they were good in that league. But in this league where it's getting longer, they do get weaker. Next, Blackhawks. B. Still the same guys that they do get strong quick because of Brawling Brute. Because, you know, by this point, the Blackhawks have probably got a few casualties on their belt. They're a lot stronger. The Goblins, well, they're not going to be as strong as you think because by the time they reach like 10 to get at least blodge or skill to help them when they fly all over the place, they do suffer. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Trolls can get bonuses from like hurling people, but 9 out of 10, you want them to do some damage by punching because you want to get that Troll quickly up the ranks in a toot sweet moment. But they're still a sturdy, strong team. They're still sturdy. Bretonnia. Now, Bretonnia is interesting. This is a team that actually gets better. Why A? Well, you don't care about the Squires. You really don't. But it's the rest of the pieces, though. Because if they get stronger, the rest of the pieces, they just become monsters. I mean, if the Squires can get, like, a dodge skill under their belt, that you just can't get rid of them. You can't block them. You can't. You have to get pop a smack. So, yeah. As soon as you give the Squires dodge and get some of your better pieces, the quick skills they need, they're just absolute horrifying to deal with. And they get stronger as we go. Chaos Dwarfs. B. Now, they've went up because they've gotten more time. Like I said in the Quickfire League, you only got like anywhere between 3 to 5 matches. You don't have time to get these guys leveled up quick. By this point, you've probably given them guard, or you've given at least one of your hobgoblins at least block or dodge, because they get killed so quickly. You need to get them like one or the two in rapid succession. Unfortunately, the rest of the team does still suffer with certain problems, but at this point, they're a bit more sturdy. Renegades. Now, Renegades do have their issues because of animosity and all that, but if they can get like through it without too much damage, they can be a pain to deal with. But they're still B tier, mid tier, because it all depends on how they get on in their first few games. But if they have a good run, they are nightmares to deal with. But still good. Chaos. B, because of the fact it takes them a while to get going, and you need the Beastmen to pretty much get their skills up quickly. Because the problem with the main Chaos guys, they will not get their skills up quickly because they're not Brawling Brutes, and it will take them a while to get motoring. Dark Elves. A tier. Now, they drop because of the simple factors they've lost 2 of their blitzers. Yes, they've got witch hunters, witch elves, but every other team is going to be sus to them, saying, all right, they've got witch hunters or they've got elves. We need to bring in blockers / tackle pieces to hold them off. So a lot of teams are going to be more weary of these guys. That doesn't mean they're weak. It's just as the league progresses, that more and more people are going to see them and think, yeah, It's a Dark Elf team. We need to deal with them. Dwarfs. Low A. There's a reason for this. Their first skill these dwarves are going to have to take will either be guard or tackle. So do they want to have a line that could deal with a lot of people? Or do they want to have guard where they can say, right, we can deal with the line, but we don't have a way of tackling you down if you've got dodge. So as they progress, they are getting stronger. But they do suffer from teams such as the Bretonnians and the Gnomes, who could nullify their block power, but not the other powers. Speaking of Gnomes, low C. They're getting weaker. Now, here's why. No dodge is a massive thing. They need to get dodge quick. But the fact that you're using the Fox to score, and he can't get general skills straight away, he has to go for the 10 to get it. This is where the Fox, yes, once he gets his general block skill, yes, he's an absolute problem. But everyone will notice that and go, yeah, I'll have a couple of block, tackle pieces just to get him. And the rest, I don't need block, I just need to outnumber you and just bash you down. The Trickster is a bit of a pain, but to be honest, not as big as pain as people think. So, they do suffer. Goblins. Mid C. Again, the problem arises. The other teams are getting stronger. They're getting the skills they need to deal with them. That doesn't mean the goblins are totally useless. It just means when you use the goblins, you're going to have to be very, very clever. You've got to be smart with them, because if you rush into combat, you're just going to get beaten up. And as you progress, yes, you're going to get more goblins and more chain, but you are relying on not getting mullet quickly. Halflings. Mid C again. Same as the goblins and gnomes, you are suffering from attrition problems. They're all getting stronger. And you need a few blood pieces just to keep them alive long enough to do things. Which means you're not getting skills early. You've got to wait till you get the 10 part. And you need at least a couple of those blood pieces to do work. I mean, the treatment will still do your work, but they're relying on them not having problems. High elves. Same reason the dark elves. People are going to be weary of them. They're going to have their stuff ready for them. But don't get me wrong. If they suffer a massive collapse, they're easy to deal with. But it's very rare you see that. Humans. They just get better. They just get better and better. You give the catcher block, he's off to the races. There's not a damn thing you can do about him unless you have tackle. And by that point, they'll have their ogre get the big arm throw, strong arm. It's just horrifying to deal with. Pure nobility. Need I say more? Like the Bretonnians, the Fen players, just give them dodge and they just say, yeah, you just push me back. I just run back in and go, yeah, we're back to square one. I mean, yes, if you got both down and they've got block, yeah, it's a different story. But plus that you've got the blockers, the actual bodyguards who just go running up straight to a key player and go, right, Buster, try me. And you're never going to shift them. They're just annoying to deal with. Khemri. C. Now, by this point, many of their players have gotten some stats up. They're a bit more sturdier. But they are low B because, yes, you're relying on the throw raw, most of all, to do stuff. And you got to hope the Tomb Guardians could get some damage in to get their skill ups. Khorne. Now, Khorne's interesting. By this point, some of your Khorne players have got level ups. Because they might have some casualties under their belt. But the Khorne goals that keep scoring, they need to score at least 3 touchdowns just to get a skill up. But they are still a B team because, yes, they're still good. They're still sturdy, but they do have their issues. Major issues. Lizardmen. Need I say more? You've got Juggernaut. They could secure the ball easy. They can blitz down. They could score insanely quick. You can get at least one Lizardmen, a few of the Saurai, like the Skinks, quickly up to the to get skills, and even the Saurai themselves can get skills because they've got Juggernaut to help them bulldoze their way through for blitzes. So they've still got some really good talent. Necromancer. B. They drop one because here's why. Teams are weary. Because they will have lots of block tackle to deal with dodging pieces. They'll have a lot of strength ups or blocks just to nullify the yeah, they get poke in the eye, but doesn't really matter. As long as you have block, you can't go down easy. So they do suffer a little bit because, teams around them are getting stronger, but they are still a strong team. They're upper B, guys. They're under A, but that's just because other teams around them are getting stronger. Norse. B, because of simply attrition. I mean, yes, the Valkyries, they might have gotten a couple of skills, but it's the rest you need to get skills on. And unfortunately, it's very hard for them to get skills because they're not brawling brutes. The Wolfrans really do rely on rush down tactics where they have somewhere to push them out or hope they have backup. Because if they don't have them, they tend to fall apart. Nagul. B, because again, other teams around them are getting stronger. Yes, they are absolutely horrifying to deal with. They do have a lot of tricks, but you're relying on the brawling brute side for them to get a few points. And like I said about Khorne, the Pestigors, they need to score 3 touchdowns to get their skill set. So you're relying on getting a few touchdowns, but if the bloaters can get a lot of casualties, they are monsters. You give them block, you are never shifting them. They're staying there for the rest. And the Sprott Spawn, he's picking them back up. So, yeah. They are up at B. Easy. Ogres. Yes. They're still C, guys. Bonehead's an issue. Their Snotlings are weak. Now, yes, they'll get some decent players, but the problem is everyone around them is getting stronger. They'll have blocks. They'll have other ways to deal with the Ogres. So, Ogres are still good. They're upper C, but they just have that issue with the Snotlings. Yes, the Snotlings don't contribute to the team value, but the problem is, even if you get a decent star player, any player worth their salt will look at that and think, yeah, there's the big threat. Take him out, and just with the Ogres, they can only bash so many times before Bonehead kicks them in the teeth. Orcs. A. Because they've got time to develop their team. So many of their linemen will get block or other skills. The blitzers will probably get tackle. The biggins will get probably block to make them unbelievably nasty to bring down. The troll will be doing his thing. The goblins, you'll probably get them, one of them at least a blodge piece, or turn them into a pseudo passer. You got the passer as well. So the orcs will be a lot harder to deal with in this form, because this is more like their sweet spot. Old world. Again, because they've got rid of a lot of stuff and gained a lot, they're just so hard to deal with. The reason they're not higher up in the tier like S or upper A is because around them people are getting stronger and getting wise to them. Pro Elves. Same reason the Dark Elves and High Elves. They're still good. But they do rely on not having a catastrophe fall. But if they don't, they're just going to be an absolute menace to deal with. Skaven. B tier, because unfortunately everyone, like I said, they're getting wise to their tricks. They're thinking, hang on, gutter runners and blitzers. Let's pick them off. The rest of the rats, we don't much care. The Rat Ogre could probably hurt his own team. So there are some issues with the Skaven. But it doesn't mean they're weak. It just means that teams around them are getting stronger. Snotlings. You're relying on star players, guys, and this is the problem. The second that happens, everyone's going to recognize, yeah, a couple of star players. we could just pick off this little snotling gits and go, right, we could just hold the star players at our leisure. So they do have their issues. I mean, they're a fun team. They're a bit wacky, but they do have their issues. Shambling Undead. Yes, they're good. The mummies are good. The ghouls are ridiculously good. The blitzers are brilliant. But as before, teams around them are getting stronger. This is what I'm saying about certain teams. They'll struggle because they're getting stronger. Underworld. Upper C. Now, in tournaments, they are nasty, but in the league, they struggle because by that point, as I said, everybody's got like blocks, tackles. They've got more ways of dealing with them. They start to struggle. That's what I'm seeing there in weak and could still win a league, but they have their issues. Vampires. Now, I've said this about vampires. If they can get their skills quickly and avoid a bloodthirst meltdown, they're terrifying. The thralls, however, yes, they're paper thin, and yes, they tend to get bledded out at times, or bashed out, depending on what happens. But however, this is where vampires get stronger. Because the fact that they can get their better skill set. So basically, you could turn, like, say, a blitzer into, like, having him have a block, or give him tackle, and the throwing guy gets a few good more throwing skills to buff up his pass ability. They become an absolute nightmare team. They're just as bad as the elves, but the only difference is they have very good, strong pieces to fight. And last but not least, the Wood Elves. Again, like the other elves, if they don't suffer from a collapse, they are hard to deal with. The War Dancer is running riot. The passer, the thrower is throwing to like the better players. The catcher is just getting blodged quickly. So they do a lot of work, but at the same time, you are relying on not having a collapse. But this is the list for the YouTuber League. Now, remember, like I said, a lot has changed because remember, most of these teams have had time to develop and get stronger. Now, this doesn't mean that they are going to be always there. For example, say for example the Dark Elves have a collapse. They could have dropped from A all the way to C because by the time they recover, it's too late. So they do have their issues. They could all suffer the collapse and could falter. But on paper, this is where most people are. What do you think? Do you agree with this? Or do you not agree with this rule about the YouTuber League style? Leave a comment in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time where I'll be talking about a Monster League. And oh boy, Monster Leagues change a lot. Anyhow, I'll catch you later.